Well, hello, Naked Gaming podcasters. It's Chris here with this month's episode. That's a little bit of a special one because I read an article the other day about a group of gamers, I would say, who just really wanted to design and make their own game. This is over in Italy. Back in 2002, it's a group of Italian gamers, and they had this dream. They wanted to make a game for the cutting-edge technology of the day, which was the Game Boy Advance, if you remember back to 2002, if you had one of those. I think we've still got one somewhere. In fact, I know Lee's got one, I think in the attic. Now, they didn't have any experience, but they had a lot of enthusiasm. So they tried to make a game, whatever it might be, sort of inspired by history. That didn't really last long, though, the enthusiasm. And one by one, the gamers decided to give up this dream of making their own game, except for one original member, Fabio Belsanti. And now it's 22 years later. He's just managed to get his game called Kian published. Now, it actually holds the record for the most delayed release in video game history. So why did it take so long? Well, I've been speaking to him, and he started off by telling me what got him so excited about games in the first place.
There are a lot of stories about this decision to start to become a game designer and to set up a video game company a lot of years ago. The first one, very, very simple, is that when I was a kid and when I was a young teenager, I was a very nerd. So in the first era of nerds, it was strange in a territory like Puglia in southern Italy. We were very few, and I liked a lot old video games. What we can do, the archaeological phase of video games, and of the role-play gamers and tabletop role-play gamers and the war games. So the roots are there. Then I studied at university history, medieval history, in the wonderful city of Siena. And I had the privilege to study at the end of my course at university the books of a mercenary company from the Renaissance period. And I found in that books the stories of a lot of soldiers and commanders of a mercenary army. And I found there a lot of role-play games because in the stories in the history are full of this logic structure of our reality. And then when I finished the university, the main plan was to start a company connected to the university to do mainly historical multimedia project. But there were a lot of problems with university. University had a lot of financial problems. My professor started a war inside the university. So from Tuscany, I come back in Bari. And there I found a small group of crazy people, very different from me, because they were truly nerd, not humanistic nerd, but technical nerds, but would like to start a company. And they need a condottiero, a lord that could be more humanistic in his approach for the narrative and also for the management. And there, with only 500 euros and 5 PC from our home, we started the company. And after a year, we had this opportunity with a contact with another bigger company that after goes bankrupt, but that suggested us to develop a game for Game Boy Advance, we started Kian because there was this opportunity in this new market at that time of this console, and there I put all that I had in my sensibility, my culture, because the Kian is can be defined a simple game, a platform action RPG with RPG elements, but inside of it there is a lot of backstory and a lot of meanings, historical meanings from culture, history, and this is a red line that stays in all my projects. And you know, when you create something, you put something of you inside of it. So it was more or less the start of the project, and why I started this adventure to be an indie company in a very difficult place that was Apulia at that time. Now Apulia is very, very different. 24 years from the start of my company, that was named at the start PM Studios, and now the name is Age of Games.
So when you started all those years ago, more than 20 years ago, to develop Kian, I bet you never thought, well, with this brand new technology, the Game Boy Advance, a very exciting bit of kit, which I remember buying as a child, you can't have imagined that the game would have taken such a long time to eventually be released.
No, never. No, it was a long ride, but I never thought that could be so long to release the game. To develop it, we did a very intense development phase of 2 years about. And when we started, we did not have we were the first Italian company to develop for Game Boy Advance, but we were really crazy people. The founders, no one of the founders was a programmer. That's a fun thing. So when we started and we did the announcement, we did not have the programmer. Then we had to found a coder that was very proud, another crazy guy. That it was at his first video game project, and you know, video games are very complex. But with a lot of will and a lot of dreams, we go on, and after 2 years we reached the final game. But the problems was that the game could not be published for market reasons and not for the code or the quality of the project.
So it's simply because it was too expensive, I'm guessing, to manufacture the cartridges that you needed to put into the Game Boy Advance. It was purely financial that stopped you releasing. Yes,
the problem was that publishers. This is a problem also today. Also today, there are a lot of different things in the gaming industry, but there are some things that are the same. In that time, big IPs were the only, for the publishers, were the only possibility to lower the chance of a failure, a financial failure. And to print each copy, publisher had to pay a lot of money to Nintendo licensing. And so it was very risky to publish a new IPs on this console. And so we signed 3 contracts, and for 3 times these contracts were cancelled, unfortunately. So we had to go on and to start a new project, and because we were very full, so we started a bigger project than Kian after Kian. But this is another story.
So
for our passion.
So what happened in the remaining 20 years or so, where the game was ready, but no one was prepared to sort of fulfill a contract to put it out there, how did the game eventually get released?
Well, we started to see if we can use the assets of the game to port it to another console, or if there were any other chances. But we didn't find it. And so we had this very big game Bible design, for example, that was about 300 pages, if I remember right. And for example, the game design, I used the game design Bible in my lesson when I became also a teacher of game design years later. And the game was in our archive from, I believe that we decided to put it in our archive in the 2008, 2009. And it was simply part of our portfolio. And we tried here and there to see if we can port it to mobile, to the phones, but each time it was not possible because we had to make other projects to survive, because we are a very indie company, so we have always the hell on our heel. So the game stayed there. But after so many years, the retro gaming market become a reality, and the license fee to Nintendo finished. I believe in the 2020, yes. And so from there, new opportunities arise, and the new publisher, Canadian publisher, Incubated. We had a contact with him. It was amazed to publish Kian, and so Kian could see the light after so many years.
So how easy is it for someone like me to play Kian? Do I have to go and dig out my Game Boy Advance from the attic in order to be able to play it?
Yes, you must have the Game Boy Advance to play it, or you can emulate it on the PC with the virtual copy. It's very easy, and it's fantastic for me. It's fantastic to play it again on the original console. And there are a lot of console on internet, on eBay. You can find a lot of it, and not very expensive. The cartridge is very expensive of Kian, but it's like it's a piece of archaeology. So it's an object. It's an artifact. You have to relate with it, not like any other game, but like a piece of history. Not to say that Kian make history of games, absolutely, but it is in the flow of history is a little part of it, and I think it's interesting for this.
So interesting.
Yes, that's the point of the main point of the game. It's a little part of our histories of entertainment.
And can I ask, dare I ask, are there plans for a Kian 2? I know it's just been released in that sense, but dare you develop another game? Because it may take another 20-something years to come out.
I don't know. Now that I'm not very young, I hope to have a Kian 2 in the 20 years, because that means that I will stay here on the Earth for the next 20 years, and that's a good achievement. But apart from this, Kian 2 depends on on what will happen with this release. We were working before we decided, we found the opportunity to release Kian. We started to build a demo of a spiritual successor that is named Astral Equilibrium. There's something on the web about it, but we stopped to develop it when we had the opportunity with Incubate, the publisher, to release Kian. Now, so now we will see. And Astral Equilibrium would be very similar in some mechanics, but more modern, obviously. And the main console would be the Switch, the Nintendo Switch today. So yes, we are thinking about and we hope to finish and release it in less years, because now we have this record and it's okay to have just one record in this field, no more than this.
It's an amazing achievement. I'm so pleased it's out. Fabio, thank you for talking to us so much.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Well, there we have it. Fabio Belsanti there, 22 years in the making, and hopefully the potential sequel might be out a little bit quicker than that. Kian, by the way, is out now for Game Boy Advance if you still have one that works, or you can try the emulator method, which I suspect might be a little bit easier to do. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Naked Gaming Podcast. We have more for you next month. Lee will return, so don't miss that. But in the meantime, make sure you stay subbed. Send us a message if you like at Naked Gaming Pod on X, Twitter, whatever it's called, and we'll see you next time round.